Alright, so today I want to make a video about this guy. Now, I had never heard of him prior to this, seeing this on Twitter, but I wanted to make a video because you'll see. But anyway, his name is Jim Holios. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but anyway, he's running for the conservative leadership, and he has about 2,700 followers on Twitter, so not super popular, especially compared to some of these other people running, but at least from what I can tell, this seems like the best guy. And like I say, I'm not saying I would support this guy or I would vote for him, at least at this point. But given the one policy I see of him, I do support. But anyway, if he was willing to want to, cut down on immigration, cut taxes, I mean, that would be enough. Just those three things for me to want to support a guy like that. But again, those are all things that the modern conservatives don't want to do. So my guess is that, I mean, I'd be very surprised if a guy like this wins. But at the very least, I just wanted to make a video about it because it is significant, and I would say there is a sliver, and by a sliver I mean very small percent chance, or percent, hope left for the conservatives. But like I say, it's single digit percentage chance that they're gonna get their heads on straight, so don't get me wrong here. But anyway, I'll just read this tweet and then talk a little bit about it. But anyway, he says, my environmental plan: drill, build pipelines, and adapt. Establishment left-wing lobbyists took to media to disparage and insult me and my plan. Obviously, this means we're on the right track. Do you think that they would be giving the CPC sound advice? No. So he is right about this kind of stuff. Now, that is what we need to do. We need to drill, we need to build pipelines, we need to do all that stuff. Because there's still, I mean, contrary to what the crazy left out there would have you think, there is still money to be made on this kind of stuff. The left always argues, oh, we don't need pipelines because there's no money to be made on it anymore. But yet, on the other hand, oil prices are too low. But on the other hand, you still have other countries. I mean, are the Saudis cutting down on their oil production? Or the states are ramping up their oil production a ton. Now, I know there is the dollar difference, but the reason why the Canadian dollar is so weak is because our economy sucks so bad, because mainly, well, not just because, to be fair, but largely due to terrible left-wing policies implemented by the Trudeaus and the Wins, the Notleys of the world. That's why our dollar is so weak. When our economy was good, guess what? The dollar, I mean, we were even a little above the States, I think, for a period there when oil was doing well. But it's terrible now because their economy sucks, and the States is so much better because their economy is so good, largely because of Trump and reducing regulations and all this kind of stuff. And the left likes to contradict themselves, and I mean, not that they don't contradict themselves with everything they do, because they do, but they like to contradict themselves with this kind of stuff because, like I say, on one hand, it's, oh, well, there's no money to be made on oil, but yet every other a major oil producer in the world is ramping up production. So again, which one is it? And the other thing too is that renewables are not the future, at least in the near future. Renewables, like I've said, are so inferior to oil. It's not even funny at the moment, and there's no evidence to support going towards renewables anyways. Um, I mean, first of all, wind is terrible. I mean, the turbines can't be recycled. They're becoming a problem now because we've had them for so long. They have to replace them. They get their um, landfills are being filled up by them. They kill birds. I mean, I heard a report that said that wind turbines kill 5% of the bald eagle population in the States every year. So a lot of these birds are literally going to become extinct or close to extinct at some point just because of wind turbines. And the left doesn't care about that. That's the only environmentalism that people care about nowadays is ones that they can either profit off of or virtue signal off of, which is always why the left accuses climate skeptics of being paid off, even though they never provide any examples of that. But yet every single climate scientist who is perpetrating this idea that global warming or climate change is this huge issue is profiting off it, because if there was no such thing as climate change being this big issue, well, guess what? Most of the climate scientists would be out of a job. So it's just projection. That's what bothers me so much about the left, is most of their gripes are just them projecting, like like I say, with the climate change thing, all that kind of stuff. But Getting back to the main point here, this is what we need. This is exactly what we need. Now, the thing that bothers me the most is that it's never going to happen. Canada has gone so far off the deep end that I'm skeptical that we'll get another sane government in Parliament anytime soon. Maybe even in our lifetimes, to be honest. It may take 50 to 100 years for the system to completely collapse, and that's going to suck a lot. That's going to suck so much because it's going to take generations to fix the problem. So basically, for all the people out there that, I mean, I don't disagree with you too. I don't want you to take this as anything wrong, but that are you know that are completely off the the conservatives are too far gone, which I agree 99%. I mean, everyone on the left is too far gone. The only thing you can do is prepare for the collapse and try and educate people on it, because the more people that are educated, and that's why I make these videos, because I just want to try and educate people. I do follow politics very closely. I do follow these kind of things very closely. I do a lot of reading myself to educate myself. And like I say, when you talk to the layman out, the everyday person out there, the levels of cognitive dissonance and just like cluelessness absolutely astounds me. That people cannot have a rational conversation about anything nowadays. Their views are shrouded in no fact whatsoever. It's just sheer emotional BS. Like you try to talk to some of these teachers and nurses, and they're just so brainwashed. Like the unions could tell them literally anything. Like literally, the unions could tell them anything. Doesn't matter how hyperbolic or how much of a hyperbole it is. They would take it, fall for it, hook, line, and sinker. And that's basically the big problems out there with society nowadays, is that people just don't have the ability to think for themselves. Like if you disagree with me and you at least think for yourself, great. But these climate change people, they're all just blindly taking other people's words for it. They can't, like I say, they can't even tell you the most basic of basic facts that would support their beliefs. It's just, oh, the overwhelming majority of climate scientists agree. Well, can you name one of those climate scientists? No. Can you cite one of those studies off the top of your head? No. Can you cite how much the Earth is warmed in X amount of period? No. Can you cite the current CO2 parts per million? No. They can't do anything. It's like the thing with gun control. They can't even define what it is they're trying to ban. And that's what bothers me so much about the left, is that at the very least, like you guys, people, not you guys, but people always gripe nowadays about, oh, there's this terrible political divide nowadays. Things are getting so heated. Well, yeah, we got one side who can't even define what it is they're trying to argue for or against. Like, why do you think that? Like, it's so stupid. But um, anyway, I wanted to make a video about this because it is pretty nice to see that there's someone out there running for the conservatives that's kind of got their head on straight. But like I say, I kind of doubt that this guy will get the nomination, um, which sucks. But again, I don't know his policies and some other things too. He may be completely out there when it comes to other things, but just this would be enough to me to strongly consider supporting someone like that. But um, anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. If you like the video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Check out my PayPal. I got linked in the description. I also got an email address for e-transfer. I appreciate any donations, but at the very least, just hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for more videos.